We have a student visiting from the 2013 edition of the course, the first time we taught the course on campus. This is Ben Sachs. He's a philosophy major, but also doing pre-med, Judaic studies minor, and a music minor, a violinist, long-term musician, also a resident of central New York, close to the Rochester area, so not too far from home here in Ithaca. Thanks for coming in, Ben, and talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
I'm curious whether you, I know you wrote your paper on the question, is God a vegetarian? And I'm curious whether you think about the ethics of eating in a way that's informed by your religious identity.
I certainly do now. What I learned from writing this paper and also from the class was that there's this kind of ethical obligation that we feel to kind of protect life in a way, and that can be distorted just as much as it can be utilized, I think. So I think there's a time and a place for making evaluations as to what's the most important factor, and sometimes like in the Bible, it talks about how the period of time that's considered the Garden of Eden, everything was vegetarian.
Right.
So the animals ate fruits and vegetables, and the people ate fruits and vegetables. But there was still a nature of relationship between humans and animals that was one of rulership in a way, because it says in the Bible that that mankind was created in the image of God, and one aspect of that means that man was created to rule over the land and the animals, in a way, like to plow the earth, or to domesticate the animals in some sense. So that's some level of utilizing life as a means to an end. But there are different ways in doing that. There are different natures which characterize that relationship. One is of like an aspect of like kindness. Like in the Garden of Eden, there was no killing between animals and animals, and humans and animals. And there's another aspect that happened after the flood that was an aspect of like severity.
Right, so there's this Genesis 1 picture, which has a kind of ideal aspect to it. It's a vegan community where everybody's naked and everybody's in community with both God and nature, right? And then Genesis 9, where the flood has occurred and God is kind of pressing reset, starting over again with some animals and Noah and his family. And suddenly there's an openness to the eating of animals for food. So whereas you're right, before there was a mention of the dominion given to humankind over as the rational creatures made in the image over animals as well as plants, there was not a kind of eating of animals in Genesis 1. Genesis 9, it's permitted. And so how do you think of that as somebody who's a kind of serious scholar of the Jewish tradition? Does that inform your way of thinking about eating?
There's an ordering, I guess, of morality that it is clear that from the Torah that animals can be used as a means to an end, whereas it's not so clear that humans can be can be used to do so. But that doesn't mean it's not very Kantian, exactly. That doesn't mean we can take advantage of that relationship. That doesn't mean we can abuse, because it's not through our own merits that we have this level of kingship or like rulership over the earth and the animals. It's not because of our own merit, basically. It's because of some God-given quality and attribute.